what I find interesting is that House and Senate Republicans are saying that they're pursuing the president's budget, pursuing the president's agenda, and yet the president hasn't actually put out a budget, which kind of allows him to have his cake and eat it too. What do you think about that, Jim? When do you expect a budget to come out from the administration?
I've been thinking about this just as you have been, and I, you know, one might expect that, I think that the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee said something recently in the media, so I'm just repeating what he said, which was, well, no, not before late April or early May, So you can imagine maybe it comes out Memorial Day or something, right? That wouldn't surprise me. But I think you're right, which is that part of what's going on here is that, they're making some arguments that that leave them room to be able to answer the same question differently depending on who they're talking to. And when you do a budget, it's true that a lot of presidential budgets have games and gimmicks, and they shade and they create fake savings and gimmicks and all this stuff, so they can kind of hide the ball a little bit. On the other hand, it's hard to completely fool everybody if you have to put numbers down into a table. Some basic things like, it's not totally clear to me yet. There's a lot of talk about Republicans increasing defense spending, but of course at the same time they're saying, hey, we want to cut defense spending, get rid of all the waste and the Pentagon abuse. So a budget might start to answer the question, well, are they going to increase defense spending or aren't they? It's hard to know. I don't think they've answered that question clearly, and that matters to a lot of people, especially Republicans on the Hill. So that's one. There are many more like that. How much do they think they're going to get from tariff revenue? And based on what legal authority? People don't realize that tariffs are supposed to be imposed on other countries via presidential declarations only for security and retaliatory reasons, not just as a broad-based way to raise revenue. That's supposed to be Congress. And yet here we are, people are talking about, maybe $1 trillion in new tariffs over the next decade. Well, what is that going to look like exactly? And are they really going to count on that? Et cetera. So there's a bunch of questions like that would be answered, or at least avoided, in a presidential submission that I think, it would serve the public if they just move forward and put it together.
Well, it would get to this question, perhaps anyway, of how much savings they're expecting from DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And it's very difficult to sort of follow that because there are so many lawsuits. There have been lots of initiatives, and you can't really tell which of them have been paused and which haven't.